You may or may not have heard of Bronnie Ware's book, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And the number one regret that most people had was, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. This got me thinking about why we don't do that. Why are we more tempted to live in ways that other people expect of us rather than following our own path? And so in this video, I'm going to take you through some tips to help you live your best life rather than the life that other people might want for you. So the first tip I've called fear less. And no, I don't mean be fearless, because fear actually is a really important emotion. It's what helps us to survive. Can you imagine if we didn't feel any fear, we'd end up in all sorts of dangerous situations. But what I mean is fear can be a very helpful emotional state, but it can also be really paralyzing and stop us from doing the things that we really want to do. So what this is about is really questioning those fears that come up that are getting in the way of you doing the things that you want. What exactly is the fear about? Is it a fear of getting something wrong or embarrassing yourself or failing in some way? If you're anything like me, I tend to be a real worst case scenario thinker. A small seed of doubt or fear can very quickly grow into something much bigger. And I have to say, in all of the years that I've been struggling with that type of thinking, none of my worst fears have ever come to fruition. Our minds are very powerful in that sense. So what we need to do is, rather than use our fear to put us off of doing things, maybe we can start using it to help us move forward towards the things that are really important. I found that the things that I worry about or I fear the most are actually the things that I need to do. I need to move through the fear. So it's not a case of getting rid of fear totally and saying, well, I'm only going to do that thing until I get rid of the fear and anxiety. If you go down that route, you'll probably never do anything. So what I found helpful for me is learning ways to manage my fear better, so that when I do things, I'm not totally free of fear and anxiety, but I'm able to manage the fear and anxiety better so that I can still do the things that I want. Something which has really helped me, and I know a lot of people struggle with this, is meditation. I used to struggle with it too, and I'm not saying I get it right all the time, but I do it regularly every day, and it has made such a difference to my life. It has not got rid of my fear or my anxiety, but my worst case scenario thinking has improved so much. Meditation has helped me to catch my worst case scenario thinking before it spirals into something bigger. Other ways of managing fear and anxiety might be things like controlled breathing. You may have heard of things like box breathing. Those types of breathing where we inhale and exhale to a certain number of counts. What that does is help to trigger the parasympathetic nervous system. So if we're full of fear and anxiety, our fight or flight system might have kicked in. And what we can do is help to turn the volume down on that system by doing some controlled breathing. It brings back in those portions of our brain that help us to think more clearly. So when we start the controlled breathing, often we'll find it easier to really step back and think, well, what is this thing I'm fearful of anyway? What is it I'm really worried about, and what can I do to manage it? Number 2 is easier said than done, I know, and that is to let go of other people's expectations. This was one that I really struggled with for many years. I had an idea in my head of what I thought other people's expectations of me were. I might have been right for some of them, but probably not for all of them. It doesn't really matter either way, because in my head, those expectations were there, and if I didn't live up to those expectations, I feared that I was going to disappoint people. I would do things because I thought that would please other people, and my wants and my needs kind of got pushed to the side, really. Over time, though, I realised that this was only making me more miserable and resentful towards those people, even though I may have made assumptions about other people's expectations that weren't actually true. Something which I did do, which I knew would probably disappoint certain people, is when me and my husband went away to get married on our own. We'd both been married before. We didn't want other people around this time. We didn't want all the politics of wedding stuff and who to invite and not to invite. And so we decided to go away and do it on our own. We did tell people about this, and I suspected there was going to be some disappointment, and there was. And you know what? We lived through it. I don't know if these people are still disappointed or have held a grudge, but that's not my problem. That's not for me to worry about. I'm so glad we did it our way, because we built some amazing memories through that experience. And anyway, we did hold a wedding reception, if you like, back in the UK. So it's not like we didn't acknowledge other people at all, but I'm glad we did it, because otherwise we would have gone through with something that wasn't really for us, that we didn't really want to do. And over time, I've realised that you can't live life for other people. Tip number 3 is don't put off things for tomorrow. It's so easy, isn't it, to keep saying, well, I'll do that tomorrow, that can wait, I've got better things to be doing. But the problem is we often keep putting off those things for tomorrow and they never get done. Another personal example I can give of this is that my husband and I talked about moving to this part of the UK for quite a while. And when the opportunity came up for us to purchase our own house, it got me thinking, well, we could purchase in the area where we lived at that moment in time. But if it's not really the place we want to be, would that mean we're more likely to be stuck there? I said to him, well, if we really want to move to this part of the UK, we've got to do it now. We've got the opportunity. If we don't do it, it's going to make it harder in the long run. And so we'd spent a lot of time putting off this idea, and then suddenly it was like, let's just do it. And literally from the time we started talking about it seriously to the time we actually moved, it was 7 months. It happened so quickly. It all just fell into place. It was pretty amazing, actually. And while I'm not suggesting you have to move across the country for that to be a valid thing to do, it can be much smaller things than that. The point is, time goes by. As morbid as it sounds, we're not guaranteed tomorrow, even though we think we are. That's just not how life works. Life can change so very quickly. So if you've got things on your list that you've been putting off for tomorrow, think about how you can get them done today. The next tip is to have some sort of gratitude practice. And I don't mean you need to sit down for 10 or 15 minutes at a time. Even if you just spend a couple of minutes every day just running through your mind the things that you're grateful for. Again, along with my meditation practice, this has been really helpful for me. It has reduced the amount of time I spend getting wound up about things that really don't matter, and it brings me back to the fundamentals of what I do have, and I'm so grateful for it because I know that other people aren't necessarily in the same fortunate position as me. And often what I'm grateful for is the fact that I have a home, I have a roof over my head, I have a job, I have my husband and my dog, I have good physical and mental health, I'm able to afford nourishing food. It's not, oh, I've got so much jewellery or I've got certain types of clothes. It's really the fundamental things that are needed to be healthy and happy. The next tip is more of a mindset shift, and that is that joy can come from simplicity. I've said this before in other videos, but I'm not going to apologise. I absolutely love the dawn chorus in the morning. When I get up early to train, if I get up early enough, I can hear the dawn chorus. Or even if the dawn chorus has been gone, the light is just coming and it's quiet and things are just starting to wake up. It's just beautiful. It makes me grateful for being alive. It's finding the joy in those simple moments. We don't need to do anything elaborate and anything expensive to bring joy, although, we can do those things. But looking at where you are and finding the joy in what you have can be incredibly powerful. Number 6 is another mindset shift, and that is remember, this is it. This is your life. You get one shot at this. You can't do reruns. This is really what it's about. Who knows? When we leave this mortal coil, maybe we'll come back somewhere, somehow, but I'm pretty sure that we're not going to come back into this body, into this life at least. So we can't rewind, we can't do things over. One of my favourite quotes from the Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor Marcus Aurelius is, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." And I think that really helps to bring the importance of us being here now into sharp focus. We make a lot of assumptions that we are going to be here not only tomorrow, but 5, 10, 15 years in the future. And being aware that that's not guaranteed isn't morbid. What I find is that really helps me to focus my mind on, if I'm sitting around scrolling on my phone, am I really going to be happy with that if I were to leave life tomorrow? Or am I going to make sure that I'm spending my time in ways that fulfill me, make me happy, and help me get the most out of life? If you're not living the way that you want, and you want to, don't put it off. Start making changes today. Tip number 7 is to get clear on your values. So what I mean by values is I kind of liken them to a North Star. They're out there, over there. You're always striving for them. It's not that you ever get to them as such. They're not goals where you achieve them and then that's it. They're kind of aspirations, the person that you want to be, how you want to live your life. And I find that when I've got clearer on the person I want to be, how I want to conduct myself myself in life. If I'm unsure about how I'm spending my time, I reconnect with my values and it helps me to decide what I want to do. If my actions align with my values and my aspirations, then I know that I'm on the right path. So getting clear on your values will help you do that. It will help you live as meaningfully as you want to, so that you can look back on your life and know that you've lived the best one possible. I hope you found this video helpful. If you want to know some tips for things that you can let go of in order to live a happier life, then check out the video that's on the screen. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.